Well, welcome, JJ. I'm surprised we don't have more folks watching this. It's still a little early. Let's wait a few minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Charlie, support for my Pixel 7 ends in October, so I'm getting a new phone. It's on the way, a 10 Pro XL, and I'm getting the same thing's true for my little laptop. It can't upgrade to Windows 11, so I got to get a new computer today. So here I am changing my computer, my phone. What could possibly go wrong, right?
That's it.
Okay.
You may not
Yeah.
hear from me for a month while I figure it all out.
No, that's modern stuff, Frank. It works pretty well.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing to know.
Yeah, no, the phone, you just plug a cable in, it transitions everything to the new phone.
Yeah, that I understand. I've got it set up so they're going to do that for me. The Verizon store is just right over here, and the computer apparently that does the same
Oh,
thing.
you're not using the Pixel uh unlocked phone?
I don't even know
Much,
what
much,
you mean. I don't even know what
you don't want to get Verizon with the phone.
I've had Verizon forever. I'm just
Oh, oh,
they
it's
just
much
upgrade.
cheaper to use the Google Fi.
Yeah,
It's about half the cost and it works around the world.
yeah. No, I've had this ever since I was
Okay.
in North Carolina. So they upgraded it for like $100 or something. It was cheap.
Oh, so you got a bargain on it, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it didn't cost much
All right.
anything. I'm going mute again.
Hey, Troy.
Hi, Charlie.
Good morning.
Hi, JJ.
Yeah,
Troy?
yeah. Good morning.
Hello, Frank.
Yes, yes.
Oh, we got a minute. I'm gonna grab something.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, JJ, you probably can go ahead now. We got the Tali on here too, so.
And Talia. Yeah. Hey, hey. Where are you? So accordingly, good morning or good evening or good
Good
afternoon. Where
evening.
are you located?
Currently, I'm in Germany.
Germany. Okay. So that's what's the time over there now?
4 p.m. now here.
4 p.m. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Good. Charlie, do we wait for anyone else expected to
Well,
join?
hey, let's go
Hector
ahead.
or
I knew Natalia was coming, so let's go ahead. I'm recording, by the
yeah,
way.
right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So Charlie, I'll quickly run through a demo. I think Troy has seen it. Frank also. Frank, no, you've not seen the demo, I suppose. I'll take the demo and then I can give test logins to whoever would like to test it out. So I'll share a screen. Um, Are you able to see my screen now?
I see a black screen. There it is. I see your screen.
Okay, so it must be, yeah, it's
Yes,
loaded.
it's
Okay, yeah. So this is the login page, and you have the username, password, and after you log in, you will come to the dashboard where you see the list of TDA and IDAs. Natalia, are you familiar with? Have you used the old software?
but long time ago, but
Hey,
yeah, used the
Gossam joined us. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie.
So, yeah. So I just starting with the demo. So shall I proceed? I just logged in,
Yeah.
and we
Yep.
can see the TDA and the IDA that are in progress, or where you have already generated
Let
them.
me just make one comment here. That
Yeah.
what he's showing you is the most potent human development tool ever devised. And this was an accidental discovery in 2008. I had built an earlier version of this, and the main thing I was interested in doing was measuring the efficacy of our various processes, the coaching versus the workshops versus the consulting work, so forth. And what came out of this was that every time you use this tool, you get an average metric increase of 4% that closely correlates with team performance. And it takes is 10 questions. And the reason it works this way is it accesses the primary driver of human behavioral change, which is repetition. And sports teams know this, musicians know this. So what he's done here, the system that I had before evolved over 12 years and got so complex that it was impossible to use, and he's recreated it in a much more streamlined form. So you can use this to boost performance of a team an uncanny amount. This is the most effective thing that I've ever seen, this little simple tool. So having said that, for the uninitiated, go ahead, JJ.
Charlie, let me jump
Right.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Something you've heard me say before. My son, Brian, worked a little bit with Charlie several years back. My son's a physicist, electrical engineer, a patent attorney, and he decided to get a PhD in organizational development. And he has that. And so he went through a lot of material. He told me, he said, Charlie's 4D systems in this process is the only thing that systematically works. Everything else is a list, good things to do. But he went through all of them. He said it's the only thing out there that works. Charlie's heard me say that before.
Yeah.
Probably heard it from Brian.
By the way, his engagement wasn't casual. He did a number of workshops with me. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Charlie, if I may just say a few words. I was reading an article about the challenges ahead with respect to AI. The perspective by the big corporation is that the technical aspect of it is manageable, is the human dimension is what requires really extensive focus to make sure that we don't lose connection between the machines and humans. So your system is in the context of today's challenges with introduction of AI and emerging technologies takes even greater importance, so to speak, and requires us to pay attention to the human dimension. So you brought that into the mix, and I think that was quite visionary. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie and
By the
Frank
way, anybody that doesn't
and
understand
for
what
the
he's
introduction. Yeah.
anyone doesn't understand what he's talking about, we're open for questions anytime.
Right. Yes. So we have, by and large, recreated the features that were there in the old software, which Charlie had developed, and many of you have already used. We have tried to use a comparatively newer UI, newer technologies, and better UI. Try to make it more intuitive, so that you can use it without much difficulty or hand holding. By and large, we have, that's the design philosophy that we have used. And you can add your branding in the assessment reports, and also comparatively lower price in terms of running the TDA and IDA. The actions here, if you look at the buttons here in the list, each of these, the last column is the action column where you know exactly what to do next, depending on the status of the assessment. If it is not yet opened, you can open it manually or wait for the scheduled opening. If you have scheduled an opening, you can, it will automatically open at the scheduled time. You can view the progress of the assessment, who has started, who has completed, etc. And if you have already generated the report, you can view the report. I'll just show a report quickly. This is a sample report for a test team. The team name and this logo and example link, etc., is your company branding, whatever consultancy coaching service you're running, the contact details and the logo, etc. And who has participated in the TDA, who has opted out, all that. And the benchmarking by quintile, the low performance context and the high performance context. You are familiar with this. And the assessment scores over several assessments. If there is only one, that will be the top one. And if there were previous assessments, it will be visible. So you can see the change from one assessment to the next. And each participant's perception. Then the 8 behaviors. What is the average score for each of the behavior that is shown in this chart? And then we proceed with the behaviors one by one. The first behavior, there is an explanation and the standard. And what is the score of the team for this particular behavior, and what is the average for all behaviors? Shown by the diamond here. Yes.
I want to just make
Yeah, sure, Charlie.
part of the reason this thing is so potent is it was originally intended as a measurement tool, but it is a learning tool. And so I put in here the rationale for each of the behaviors because most people aren't familiar with this kind of thinking. And people have to read that to answer to participate in the process. So they're not realizing this, but they're learning. And the second question was, how do you make a measurement in the presence of what's called normalization of deviance? And that term comes from Diane Vaughn's book, The Challenger Launch Decision. And it's about how the social context can make behaviors that are deviant in broader terms seem normal. So the question how to do this, the answer was you measure against the standard. And I hadn't realized this when I did this, but looking at the standard also teaches you what good looks like. So you've got 2 learning events built into this that come over and over and over because this thing takes 15 minutes to answer 10 questions. So you do this repetitively, and the learnings can't help but sink in. So I'll throw that information out. Go ahead.
Right, yeah. So we go through each behavior, including the standard and the scores. And the next screen shows if there are comments by the team members. All the comments will be listed in 1 or 2 pages. And I'll just quickly click through all the 8 behaviors, addressing shared interests and the comments here.
So people often in briefing this find the comments are the most interesting part. And by the way, when I first started this, I and my staff did the briefings of these reports, but I had some experiences that showed that this is really highly effective only when the team leader buys into it. So I modified the process so that I briefed the team, I or my staff member or you guys would brief the team leader, and the team leader briefs the team because as they're talking the report to the team, that they are owning it. So these are nuances in this process that I think are really important.
Right. Yeah. So the behavior and the comments, roles array A, and then the plus question uh, and the delta question. Charlie, you have anything to add here?
Yeah, so the idea of the plus question, a lot of the work teams, I just wouldn't surprise anybody, are in a bad place. They're discouraged, they're tired, they're frustrated. And so when we do this with a real team of say 15, 20 people, you get a really rich set of pluses. And I encourage people to edit those and put them on the wall in a conference room. And when everybody's down because they had some setback, lost a proposal or got layoffs or whatever, to revisit what's positive about their team. And the delta is really a catch-all for actions. This whole thing is about action learning, actions the team leader and the team can decide to do that would improve team performance, and that's usually a very rich set of data. So this whole thing is about action learning. And another really important thing, when I was at NASA, they spent tons of money sending me off to these events, typically at Wallops Island, with some academic who was making this very persuasive, entertaining presentation about things. When I came back to headquarters, people were ready to thwart me for next week or two because they didn't want these changes. And they knew that if they could disabuse me of pushing this for about a week or two, I'd forget about it and move on. So the most consultants want to tell people what to do, and it doesn't transfer into social context. So the reason it's so important to have the team and the team leader do this report is they decide what to do, and they pick things that work in their context for them. That's another reason this thing works so well. I don't tell them what to do; they decide what to do. Once they decide for themselves, again, they own the improvement actions. So action learning is another key element of this process. It
Right,
seems like
yeah.
a really simple little thing, but there's a lot of thought behind this.
Yes. So what you have seen, we have seen a sample report. It is just a
Yeah.
test data. It's on the test server. We have two servers running currently. One is used for our development purposes, and this is the test server. You can I can pass on test credentials if you, in case you would like to go through it. So that is the TDA list.
I want to point out he's done something really important here the old system didn't do. You can have this thing running any number of teams. Like you could have 25 teams and actually make a lot of money with this thing. And it's very easy to come in here and look at what's going on at every one of these things. Click on these buttons and you can show them that they've got pull down tabs. And so you can manage and see, an entire large company with this tool and conveniently do it. Launch assessments,
Yes.
view reports, view progress, close assessments, all with these little color code tabs. This is an amazing thing he's done. And just to be clear, the TDA is the more important tool. It's measuring the behavioral norms of the team, which directly convert into the social context and hence the performance of the team. The IDAs are measuring individuals' behaviors, and they're also powerful, but we use them typically with coaching. So an IDA would be part of a coaching process, and it's a diagnostic for the coaching, how to hone the coaching to get the maximum benefit. And both of these have track records of improvement that are quantitative and damn near monotonic.
Right. Yeah. So similar to TDA, we have the list of IDAs, the individual development assessments here, and similar report. Now adding a client, this is where you add client organizations, your clients. Some basic details
the point of this is that you'd have a back to the NASA work, for example, a client might be a field center, or a client might be a company. And this tool organizes all the individual teams in the company and lets you build back to whatever the client, the master client is. Go ahead, JJ.
That's right. Yeah. So you add the client organization, and if it is part of any other organization, if it is a sub, you select the parent organization, put in some basic details like address and contact person, name, email. Designation, phone are not mandatory. Some of the other information is essential. So that is how you add a client organization, and all your clients will be listed here. And you can add teams under those clients. You add the team name and add the team members. Add up to 25 team members and delete, etc.
By the way, that limit is because if you make this thing larger, like say you put 500 people in it, what'll happen is you'll generate an encyclopedic report that can't be used. It's just too enormous. So the definition of a team is the people with a common supervisor. And sometimes people want to combine two teams to save the 50 cents what thing costs. It's just stupid, because what happens then is if you get undesirable information, you get into finger pointing. It's the other team doing it. So a team is defined as a group of people with a supervisor, and typical, I think worldwide, business organizations is probably 5 to 15 people. It's very typical. Very rarely do you see a team with 25 people working for a supervisor, except in cases where they're not really functioning as a team. Like, for example, a police chief might have 100 officers, but they're not in any common task. They're off doing their own thing. Typical business organizations where people have a team that's on some common task, probably 5 to 15 people, I think is quite common.
If I may ask,
Yeah.
this is great that everything is now brought online and highly interactive. To what extent you built in the precautionary principles of confidentiality, access, and visibility? Presumably some of this information are highly confidential. Charlie, as you know, organizations don't like to see their data to be shared openly with others. Have you built those?
So whenever I would prepare someone for one of these things, the first thing I'd tell them is that the results go to the team leader, period. I've told them no matter who asks me for the results, they will not get them. And so the team leader can do with it as they want. And if they don't brief it, that's a big mistake, but I leave that up to them. And so the system protects the confidentiality electronically, but the irony is, Gaston, people unintentionally violate the individual confidentiality by how they write the comments. So going through these things with a team leader, they'll see this thing and they'll know, oh yeah, that's Fred. I know how he writes. So you can't fix that. The most important thing that I teach the team leaders when I'm getting them ready to do the report, they might have comments or questions about the process, but the thing that they usually want to deal with is someone might write a comment, the team leader's an idiot. How do I deal with that? And I said, well, the first thing you do is you don't change anything in the report. If you change anything, the person who wrote that will see it's not there. And after that, you have no credibility, whatever. So when you get to something like the team leader's an idiot, you simply say, I want to thank you for the fact that you feel comfortable in telling your truth. And we're going to focus on things that can help us enhance performance, So we're going to move on to comments that are more useful or something to that effect. So the really important mindset shift here that people have trouble making when you see a tool like this, you think it's evaluative, and I tell people this is not evaluative. If anyone thinks they're going to be evaluated with this as an individual or as a team, they're going to game it. They're going to answer questions untruthfully. So a big preparatory thing is setting their mindset. This information is for your own use and enhancing your performance. So therefore, you will only be valuable to you if you tell the truth exactly as it is. And I've never had a problem in doing this. I'd say maybe 2,000 times with a team where people didn't understand that, and I cannot even think of a time when somebody answered dishonestly. And what JJ showed you that histogram of individuals' perception of the team, and that's really important data for briefing this process. And I sometimes see scores at 100%, and I would interrupt if I'm there, I interrupt the briefing and say, would whoever scored us 100% like to comment? And someone would say, yeah, that's me. I love working here. This is my dream job. I've always wanted to be part of the organization like this. And so even those have never been fake. But they've got to believe that that you and the team leader are going to use this only for constructive purposes. So thank you.
No, absolutely. I mean, those nuances and messages I got by listening to your tutorials over the last year or so. And what I'm asking is that how do you build those unique aspects into the software interactive system so that those features are not lost in the process? But, most important,
so
of
I don't know what JJ's doing, but the old system would actually sort the comments behavior to behavior. So you couldn't read the first comment in one behavior and infer that, say, the next one, the first comment was the same person. But I don't think in reality, the anonymity has been much less of an issue than conceptually thinking about it. It has not bothered people a lot.
Yeah.
Doing it.
In addition to Charlie, there are two parts. One is what you have explained. The other related to the software itself, how secure it is, and how do we protect. We have one when the for the consultants, for the providers use, there is an individual login, and the login is created by you with the password, etc., which is encrypted and stored. So not even we can see the password, means the developers also can't see the password. So it is encrypted and stored, and the software is deployed on AWS secure servers, and all the security features of AWS, including the monitoring and alerts, etc., we have deployed. So those are some of the standard precautions that we had to take for a web-based software, and it is HTTPS, and so.
By the way,
from the server side and the software side, we have taken care of those matters. Yeah.
Another interesting point is that I was brought over many years ago for China Aerospace to help them with this work. And they were completely bought into this whole thing and brought me over there 2 or 3 times. I did speeches all around the country. But then when they realized how important this process was, they said, we can't use this because we're not going to be willing to put our data on on software in the U.S. And in fact, in China, there's no dividing line between civil and military space. And the workspaces that they have, the computers, I don't think they even use Microsoft software to be safe. there's no connection to outside world. And in the building, there's one little room that has a computer that you can kind of go in there and access outside, but it doesn't access inside. So what JJ said is, and by the way, the same thing happened in Japan. They said Japan privacy is a very big issue in the country. And they said, we're not comfortable having this sensitive data outside Japan. And I tried to explain to them that, frankly, nobody cares, but that didn't work. So JJ is happy to, for a modest fee, give the whole source code out, and you can run it on they can run it on their own computers. Like, for example, Northrop Grumman might want to do that, rather, again, because lots of classified data. And so they can scrutinize the software, make sure there's no portals in it, secret things, and run it on their own computers totally internally. And that wasn't possible with the old system. It was just too complicated. And JJ will provide support services to help people with any software issues. So that's another element of the security and anonymity that we have with this.
That's right. Yeah. So if somebody would like to deploy it in their own country, or if they have technical teams, they might even want to deploy it by themselves. So we will share the code and instructions and hand-holding initially, so that you can set it up and run it. So that's a model that we can use. So this is adding the team. And once you have the team, you come to the TDA and select the team that you have created and create TDA, which is again a few steps. TDA and the start date.
So I want to make another point. What Jay
End date, etc.
This has no user manual. You go through this and you get prompted to do everything. So there's no manual to read. You sit down and just start using this thing.
That's right. Yeah. So creating the idea is a few simple steps of setting the starting date and ending date. And in case you want reminders, if midway reminder and a closing reminder, you can set those reminder dates. And on the scheduled date and time, reminder emails will go out to the participants. Those who have not yet completed, those who have completed will not receive these reminder emails.
That's very sophisticated.
So, yeah. So that's the creating the TDA part. And another feature here, if you want to see previous reports, if this particular team had previous assessments, you can see
Nice.
the previous assessments and the reports of those assessments here.
Amazing.
So you can see, yeah, how the team has progressed or changed over time. So, and the other, you can set reassessment reminder, etc. That is managing the team and the TDA. And similar feature for IDA. IDA, we have one feature where you create the IDA, individual development assessment, for people who are already part of a team. Those who have participated in a TDA, their email IDs will be already there. So if you want to create IDAs for Luminance team members, so you use this option and create.
To be clear, the first thing you should do is set up a TDA. That's the normal process. Having done that,
right.
If you want to run IDAs on every person in the team, it's already preloaded for you. That's very nice.
That's right. So, yeah. So when you choose that particular team, you have the team members here, and then you set up whoever has requested for an IDA. You set up the IDA, and the other team members' names will be automatically loaded here, and you can remove anyone, add other members. So if that's just a shortcut for creating IDAs for team members. Similarly, those who are not yet part of a team, any individual who has not been part of a TDA, you can use the IDA for others and give that person's name and email ID, and then the participant details here. So that's creating the IDA. And then a few features like resources, we'll be adding more learning material and processes here. And help, just a basic help, we will add a few steps there. And how to pay for the TDA and IDA, we have thought about a system where you can buy tokens or credits for managing and setting up the TDAs and IDAs with a token costing around 25 cents. That's a price currently. And you can, for managing or setting up one TDA, it is 1,000 tokens, which the standard price is $250 USD. But if you have requirements for running more TDAs and more IDAs and repeat TDAs for teams, etc., you can buy tokens in bulk quantity at package rates. So let us say 10,000 tokens is USD 1250, which is sufficient for running TDAs for 5 teams, first time TDA, and then 2 more repeat TDAs, reassessments for those 5 teams. So in total, you can conduct 15 TDAs with this 10,000 tokens, 5 first time TDA, and then 2 each repeat TDAs for each of the 5 teams. So 1250 is the total price, package price. So per TDA price then will work out to 1250 divided by 15, that is around $83 per TDA. That is the price if you have regular clients and regular ongoing TDAs, IDAs, etc. If you want to run one-off, maybe you can buy 1,000 tokens or 4,000 tokens, etc. First time TDA and IDA, TDA costs that takes 1,000 tokens, IDA it takes 200 tokens, and the reassessments are half the price, or for IDA it is only 100 tokens, for TDA reassessment is 500 tokens. That is the pricing. Yeah, and the IDA we have kept it at a comparatively significantly lower price than the previous system, because we feel that those who want to take the IDAs should be able to take it without considering being constrained by the cost. So every IDA will be around $25, etc. And when it is bulk price, it will be $10 or $8, etc. That's the idea. And you can purchase tokens here, see your token history, etc. Yeah, and the settings here, your company profile and report settings. This is the branding, your branding, which appears on the assessment reports on the main page. On the first page, your full contact information and logo, and your company name will appear on all the slides along with the name of 4D system. So that's broadly the software. I hope it, yeah. I have quickly gone through the features, and I would like to, at your convenience, we can have one-on-one Zoom call or Google Meet, and you can test out the software. I can guide you through the initial steps if required, and set up and test it out. I think right now, if we have to do a TDA, it might take a little, it will be take another 10-20 minutes. Let us do it separately, I think, in another one-on-one meetings. So Charlie, you have something to add? Have I missed out something?
No, I think I just think the whole thing's brilliant. It's a beautiful thing, JJ.
Thank you, Charlie.
It's
Yeah, any questions from any of the participants? I'll be glad to answer.
I Gossam, your point's well taken that in times of increasing not just AI, but what I'm struck with today is how much of everything is controlled by corporations rather than individuals. So we go to a Marriott, or a Costco, the manager controls almost nothing except hiring local people. As we get into this more and more relationship limited society, dealing with relationships just becomes ever more important. And there's nothing, I say this not immodestly, but there's nothing that works like this. This was the biggest HR intervention NASA ever had, and I'm not an HR person. I'm a physicist. So, and the reason is that it works. And I'd say even harsher. I don't know another damn thing that does anything or any data to show it. I did a lot of work for Project Management International all around the world with this. And then they called me one day and asked me to if I would come to a talk in Washington, D.C. And I said, sure, my standard rate is $5,000, but you guys been good to me. I'll do it for free, just cover the travel. And so she said, well, we'd rather pay you. I said, I don't need the money, don't want the money. I'm happy just to do it. So she said, okay. So I did the briefing and I showed a chart in there that is the only chart I've ever seen of organizational wide change. And it showed that we were changing the behavioral norms across the entire 20,000 people in NASA. And so it was probably just normal briefing. And so I finished up and I was walking around, they had some displays and things. And she walks up and hands me a piece of paper. I said, what's this? I said, she says, a check for $5,000. I said, told you I don't need the money. Said, I've got to give it to you because I've been in this business 40 years and this is the first thing I've ever seen in HR that had any evidence of doing anything at all. So, and then the key is this tool. The key is not the workshops. This was the big shock in 2008 to find out that this tool was more effective than 3 days of sitting in a room talking with people. So
No, I really get it because you made it, as you pointed out earlier, participatory. That is the first essential ingredient for people to take
yeah,
the ownership of the outcome, right? And
that's
that
it.
was,
Yep, it's theirs.
yeah,
And I really think it's action learning is the jargon for this, but the fact that they decide what to do. If they ask me, I tell them suggestions from other people. But when they decide to do something that matches their team and their workplace and their social context, it works.
yeah.
Someone telling them what to do, it just doesn't. I mean, I could go talk about this for hours, but I'm reminded of an occasion when I was in France and having this lunch on the Seine and this delicious red wine, and I paid an expensive price and brought a bottle home and opened it up on the patio back home and said, "Hell's this? This is like Gallo wine I bought." This the context, okay? And the same thing with the behaviors. They've got to I had a to tell a little story about this. My first client was accounting firm Ernst and Young, and I did the workshop, and it was all fine. And the manager of the company said, or the Denver system said, I want to improve our culture here. It's broken totally. There's no partner opportunities. The industry's consolidating. Everybody's miserable. So I said, you're totally 100% orange culture. So what you need is appreciation. And I knew that if I told them that, that's not going to work. So I did a post-it exercise with them. I put on the top management people, 25 top managers uh, on the wall. What do we most need in the culture of Ernst & Young to enhance performance? And I did the process with them, and it came up as I knew it would with appreciation. And the 5 senior partners who disliked me because they disliked working for a tall blonde woman 10 years younger than them, they said, you rigged it. And I said, okay, so you sit down and count the post-its. The rest of us will go out and have a cup of coffee. So he came back half hour later, and they're looking unhappy and grumbling. They said, no, you're right. They want appreciation. So now the question is, how do you install that into an Orange culture? So the HR lady and I got together, and the typical consultant who does this work will say, oh, you got to give people hugs and you got to smile and thank them in person. I said, no, that not going to work in a place like this. So the HR lady and I talked about it. So how about if we make a 3-part carbon form and you write down on it what you appreciate somebody for? And I said, you can hand it to them in person. You can put it on their computer while they're out to lunch. I don't care how you do it in a modality that works for you. And we agreed that we would take the second carbon and put it in the personnel folder of the person who did the appreciation, and the next carbon would be left over, would be in the personnel folder of the person being appreciated. So a month later, the HR director called me up and said, you won't believe what's happened here. The personnel folders are filling up with these slips, and you can walk in the building and it's palpable. Gosh, you might relate to this, but I remember when Golden came, you walked into headquarters, the feeling in the lobby was different. Okay, so I said, I called the head of the company and said, "Do you want to turbocharge this?" She said, "Yeah, how?" I said, "You tie 5% of everybody's bonus to number of slips in their personnel folder, and this will really rock it off." So she did, and this became the highest performing office in Ernst & Young within 6 months. She was elected the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and told because of this, and said that when Greenspan came to her meetings, he had to ask her permission to speak. So this is the whole power of having them discover what they need, not me telling them, having them decide how to implement it, not me telling them. And so it's just kind of simple, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This is why I was really referring to, you brought this human dimension or element into the assessment that made it so unique, and whatever it was, the outcome would fit the purpose and the need
Yeah.
of the organization. So the comment that I made up front, now with the emergence of these new technologies that are being adopted by different sectors, different companies, tailoring them to their needs and the needs of their customer. Guess what is needed? That human dimension, the human element, both for their employees as well as for their customers. So that's why
it's been a 20-year trend, and it may be hitting a new level with AI. And in fact, I think that I've argued this for years, the competitive advantage a company's going to get is going to come from how they interact with people. Because the more as things become more and more centralized, more and more automated, you're not able to create advantage by doing faster computer stuff. It's got to be through how you relate with the people. And this tool does it. So thank you, Qasim. Yeah. Anybody else have a comment or question? Germany's pretty quiet.
No, just great insights and about this corporate and Orange, right, and the way how it can be handled. That's amazing.
Well, thank you very much, Charlie, for continuing to, share your ideas, your innovation with the rest of the world, and making it more accessible with really,
It's what I enjoy doing,
yeah,
Blossom. It's a labor of love. So
absolutely. Your legacy will really continue to, you know, be spread around the world and through these
thank you.
different organizations, different applications, and with the wealth of knowledge, would be fantastic for you to consider writing the impact. You know, your book introduced the idea and the principles and some specific examples. Almost 20 years plus later,
Yeah.
there is sufficient
Well,
number of cases.
I'm writing a memoir, and I wrote it and looked at it and said, "This is boring.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to read this."
No, I read it. I read it. I enjoyed it.
Well, no, I got a new one. You haven't seen this, so I said, what do I like to read? I like to read legal dramas. I enjoy reading about courtroom strategy and this kind of thing. So I got the idea that I need to take this thing and make it into a dialogue.
Yeah.
So now I've got to think about who I'm going to dialogue with. And I thought the problem with that is that the reason novels are interesting is you get interested in engaging with the person. It's the same with sports. Frank loves, football or whatever. I think it becomes interesting once you get to connect and know the players and make a human connection with them. So I thought, who's going to interview me in this new rewrite? And I thought, well, it could be Einstein or it could be someone like that. But the problem with that is I've got to develop their personality. So the story's written about the idea that, and this part's actually true. We bought a new Model Y Tesla, our second Tesla, and it's got electronic opening back. So I drive the car into the garage, and the back opens, and an Optimus robot gets out, and he says that I've found your book, How NASA Builds Teams, online and read it. I'm interested in this. So I want to come and talk with you. So the whole rest of the book is about Optimus and I talking about things. so that's the approach I'm taking.
Very cool.
By the way, Optimus really is a real thing, a real robot. And
Tesla robot, yeah.
The Tesla full self-driving has hit a new level. We just did a 3-day trip and a 4-day trip in the mountains looking at the color changing. And I think I touched the steering wheel 3 times in 4 days. And
Charlie, I've got to share a story with these folks.
Yeah, please.
That haven't heard it. Charlie's heard me say this many times. I did a lot of 4D workshops for Charlie, mostly at the Human Spaceflight Centers. Charlie said he didn't like to do that because he's such an unmanned guy. He'd just go tell the truth. And I kind of came out of that world. So, but in prepping for all these things, we'd have these conversations about the slides. And what I can tell you is I would have, if it were me doing 4D systems, I'd still be using the original set of slides because they were fine. They were perfectly fine. The slides were never the same from one workshop. They always changed, and it wasn't the name of the team or anything like that. It was content. So that's the definition of blue in the 4D systems. And so when he's writing a book or something like this, I'm always expecting the change. And so the robot's the latest in that. Another shift before it's over with.
Well, Frank, I've got to stop and finish something. I'm getting too old here. I can't count on.
No, if you stop,
so
you
many
may
more
be gone.
years here.
You got to keep going, my friend.
Yeah, we're going. Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Charlie,
Thank you, PJ.
yes. Yeah, thank you very much